Fantastic race on tap. We saw a great race yesterday. It was one of those races where you did not know what to expect, but you had to mind the gaps and you had to mind your tires. Early, fast pace worked into losing quality grip with the cars and ended up having a couple of passes right towards the end as that podium all started to kind of unravel for a few drivers. That podium chance unraveled as their tires started to go away towards the end. So mind the tires, keep them ready, get them ready to go for the last couple of laps. Charging the last 5 laps is what we saw yesterday for several drivers. So keep in mind that's what we're going to look for again today here for this USF 2000 Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Mazda. We'll get Rob back up to the booth before we get ready to go green. Field now rolling off of pit lane and behind the Mazda safety car for the Mazda Road to Indy here at Road America. So as the field begins to take shape, they'll warm up these Cooper tires and go through what is a sun-drenched Road America today. Temperatures in the mid-60s, lower 70s as we begin our day today. High temperature later on today, about 76 degrees for the Verizon IndyCar Series. But this morning, it'll be a little bit cooler track temperature. Most of the track on the front half will have some sunlight to it. Back in Kettle Bottoms, you'll probably notice a few more shadows, including back into Moraine Sweep, where they are now, just past the Sargento Bridge as well. So there are some shaded areas, and we know that shade is going to bring a little bit more grip normally or traditionally during the day, but in the morning, a little bit cooler temperatures, it'll take a little bit more to get these tires up to temperature. But really with these open-wheel cars, these cars will bring these Cooper tires up to temperature fairly quickly. The key and critical thing is going to get through turn 1, turn 3, and turn 5 on that opening lap. If you can get cleanly through those first 3 corners, we saw a little bit of problem yesterday with many of the Mazda Road to Indy races where turn 5 was really the hot spot, just trying to maximize gain, maximize effort to get into the corner, under braking, get side by side with somebody, but getting up the hill side by side with somebody towards turn 6. Turn 6, it doesn't really get narrow, but it certainly feels like it gets narrow. In most cases, turn 6, that blind left-hander up the hill, getting single file out of turn 5, incredibly important, because if you're still side by side with somebody after turn 5, turn 6, turn 7 gets a little hairy as these cars come up to speed through that first race. A couple of cars kicking up some dust here in the carousel already this morning as the field very quickly taking shape and ready to come to the green flag here on the main Road America straightaway. So the field behind that Mazda pace car will start to pair up 2 by 2 as they get towards Canada Corner. And then they'll come up through Thunder Valley through turn 14, and they will unleash these Mazda engines around this 4-mile race course on this Sunday morning. Rob Howden, speedily back to the PA booth this morning. Good morning, Rob.
Another golf cart ride.
You didn't have to run this.
No running this time.
Yeah. Last year you were a little out of breath by the time you got here.
Yeah, last year I burned a lot of calories from coming from pit lane back here to the booth. It's a long run down through the tunnel, but yeah, golf cart ride today. And Eric, this is going to be interesting because I think the key here, of course, Kyle Kirkwood able to jet away. He was able to come from the front row yesterday and get around Rasmus Lindh. He's got 3 Pabst Racing guys in front of him this time, and I think Kyle knows he's up against the juggernaut here at Road America, battling with Pabst and 3 other drivers. And I guarantee you, too, Rasmus Lindh learned from that start yesterday. Even though he's a rookie in the series, he'll be on the throttle early here.
Well, I was talking before you got back to the PA booth. Really, the critical thing is to get through turn 1, 3, and 5. Once you get out of 5, to get single file as soon as you can, because obviously you don't want to lose that momentum going up into 6. If you're tied next to somebody side by side into that blind left-hander at 6, it makes it very difficult to get back to the lead group in front of you. So the back half of the field, it's going to be critical to really get on it shortly.
Agreed. Coming out of turn 14 up over the hill, we're getting set to go, folks. And indeed, green flag flying here at start-finish. We are underway. And again, as I expected, a better start for Rasmus Lindh. He gets on the throttle early to lead them down here into 1, but you know they're going to spread wide. 2, 3 wide now into turn number 1. Coming from the outside, I think that's Lucas Cole trying to go to the lead. Little dust coming in, couple of brake lockups. Otherwise, good coming down under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge. Again, turn 3, as Eric had said, so crucial. Turn 5 as well. They're stacked up like they are on this opening lap. They've got to give room to each other coming through. Turn number 1, 2, 3, clean thus far. Here's that long run, the downhill braking zone into turn number 5. A lot of people already setting up down there for a great day of competition. Let's see who gets the lead when they first come through. I think it's Lucas Cole. He was able to get the outside, I believe. And no, there's a lot of brake lockup again going into turn number 5. Good coming out at turn 5, as Eric had said. Yeah, a couple drivers off. That looks like, is that turn 1? Indeed, drivers off the track in turn number 1. Looking over at one of the monitors here in the booth. Otherwise, good on the racetrack, but one of the standing monitors in the booth says 2 drivers off in turn number 1. One of them, I believe, one of the Bennett cars, potentially Sabra Cook.
And Sabra did not have a very good race yesterday. Spun early in that one and then spun in turn 7, made some pretty heavy contact with the wall.
You can see right front damage on that, Eric. Looking here at the driver of the next car, one of the black machines.
It almost looks like a half shaft there.
You know what? I said that to myself. I didn't want to spit it out. Like, really? It's the half shaft sitting in the middle of the road? But all the wheels are on it. I thought the same thing. Yeah, that looks like a half shaft.
That's a half shaft.
Yeah, it is. And he just throws it back in the under tray.
So we know for certain that one of the cars having some damage. And a car in turn 5 as well up against the wall.
A lot of contact. I had said I saw some more brake smoke going down into turn number 5. That's more than brake smoke. So that, I believe, one of the BN cars. I'm going to say that's probably Russell McDonough and Sabra Cook involved there in turn number 1, trying to pick up the car in turn 5, who's wrecked on the inside of the racetrack.
2 cars in 5, in fact.
Indeed, there's one stuck up against the wall and one sideways. So a lot of carnage here in the opening lap. And, Eric.
Dusty track, early morning, a little bit cooler track temperature than what they had most of the weekend.
No doubt about it. Young drivers as well, just, trying to recover from yesterday. It's always the issue. I always talk about how drivers' mindsets and strategies change when you come into a second race of a weekend, because depending on what happened in race number 1, it totally changes. Are you on recovery mode? Are you trying to get some revenge? Are you trying to get redemption? Whatever it may be. More drivers pulling in with damage, too. One of the exclusive Autosport cars coming in. Looks like the front wing was bouncing. That might have been Igor Frog in the 91. Mateus Solar-Obel into pit lane as well. We're going to be able to get, when they come across the line here, we'll tell you who the drivers are in turn number 5 as they fall down the order. Jose Sierra is definitely going to be one of them. Sierra, you can see one of the white and blue cars. That's a DE Force car. Jose Sierra involved. I wonder if that might be Max Peichel potentially in the number 14 involved as well. So drivers in the pit lane to get some work done. Darren Keene in the number 36, tough for him. Daniel Frost as well.
Looks like Russell McDonough, Max Peichel, Sabra Cook, and David Osborne, and Jose Serra as well, and Matthias Solar-Obel on pit lane, as well as Frost and Keene. So certainly the back half of the field sounds like they were probably trying to dodge the broken car in turn 1, and that may have caused some damage. Everybody getting checked up.
Good possibility as well. And you look at, I'm thinking the turn 5 one probably the biggest, because remember Sierra started fairly far up the order. Not all the way up, but Sierra was actually in the 12th position, so kind of right there in potentially part of the lead group, and everybody behind it would have been stacking up. Sierra, of course, starting 12th. Igor Fraga had some front-end damage starting right alongside him. So right now, as they come across the line, we'll reset for you. Lucas Cole on the front of this lineup because he was able to get the run to the outside of Rasmus Lint, as I had said. Kalen Frederick in the 3rd spot, so it's still Pabst Racing 1, 2, 3. Kyle Kirkwood in 4th, Julian Vanderwatt 5th, Colin Kaminsky up into the 6th position, Keith Donegan, podium yesterday for BN Racing in 7th, Corey Enders up to 8th, Alex Barron now 9th, he'll take advantage of that. Alex started in the 11th spot, gets 2 positions to 9th here when we go back to green. Michael D'Orlando 10th, Dakota Dickerson, who started 14th, will now restart 11th, Igor Fraga 12th, 13th is Kyle Dupel, 14th Jacob Abel, 15th is Calvin Ming.
37 of David Osborne, rear wing assembly completely dislodged as well.
And the left rear wasn't rolling. So there's major damage to the 37 of David Osborne. That's a tough way to finish for the Newman Walks Racing driver. That looks to me like someone probably piled into the back of him as they got into that braking zone of turn number 5.
Easy to do when you're checking up and you've already got some brake lockup. And if you're getting on the binders so hard this morning, tires not fully up to temperature yet.
Yeah.
Just a lack of overall grip.
And the downhill run into turn number 5. You know, the momentum of the car is making it harder to brake when you're on a downhill. The braking zone, then the braking period is a lot longer than it would be in a regular zone. Man, a lot of work going on over here in turn number 5.
Looks like those two cars may have been locked together because it just looks like left front, right front suspension components may be locked together. They may need to get a hook out there and pick up one of the cars just to get it picked up in a way. So this could be a little bit lengthy of a caution here, Rob, unfortunately, for this Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix Road America powered by Mazda.
Yeah, it's a shame. We always want these drivers to get as much track time as they possibly can, and you hope to have clean opening laps. You know, when we got started, you know, I wanted to take the time to actually, you know, commend the drivers in USF 2000. They did a great job yesterday getting through those tight opening corners. Everybody, actually, the paddock was pretty impressed that they were 2 wide and 3 wide for a time, and that's, again, a testament to the young drivers as they start to get more comfortable in these cars. Again, this isn't the first race of the season. You know, for USF 2000, this is race number 4. Got the season started at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg in March, waited 2 months to get back on track on the road course at Indianapolis. Then they ran the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. So race number 4 for the young drivers in the first rung of the Mazda Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. 1 race in the books yesterday, and again, everybody just with that different mindset coming in here this morning. And as you said, Eric, and I think you're right, 8 o'clock in the morning, dusty track, not overly hot either. It was a lot warmer yesterday for their first race of the doubleheader. And, you know, just kids getting up early in the morning, man. You got to get them focused. You got to clear out the cobwebs and hope they make the right decisions on the racetrack. But, again, close quarters racing as well. Coming into that downhill braking zone of 5, all it takes is one driver moving over and not knowing there's a guy beside him. And this is what you get. 2 drivers into the wall on the right side of the track, driver's right, coming down into turn number 5.
Yeah, it looks like with all the safety equipment having to move one of the safety trucks, otherwise they would not have had a chance to get the safety car and the field through. Looks like an almost full track block is just with all the safety equipment over in turn 5.
Well, and let's assess the vehicles they've got down here. They got the flatbed truck, and that means so one of the cars isn't rolling at least. They'll probably have to flatbed one up. They'll be able to pick one up with the tow truck as well. Nice thing is they'll be able to get them down into the turn number 5 as opposed to bringing them all the way back to the paddock. We will want to go to green as soon as we possibly can, but again, the crew's doing what they can to get things cleaned up. Here comes the field through.
And you see just how tight it is with that racetrack. It doesn't really narrow, but it certainly feels like it narrows. It's that little jog to the right just before you get into the braking zone. You see the brake marker, the 500 mark, just at that little jut out, and there's just a little bit of a move to the right, just enough where sometimes if you're side by side with somebody, you're kind of queuing off that grass, that white painted line on the inside, and you move just slightly to the right, thinking that you're maintaining your line, and that can sometimes cause the contact, and that's about the same spot where you're going to end up every time.
Yeah.
When you make that contact. It's going to draw you then to the wall on the outside under the braking.
It's one of the things that makes turn 5 such an interesting corner, the downhill, the little bit of the jog you have to make before you get there. And then when you come down as well, the visuals of it, because as you can see to the left side of the left side of the screen, it opens up wide on the exit on the other side of the rumble. So you feel like you have a lot more room and you can carry more speed coming in there because there's just so much pavement on the outside of the racetrack. But again, down onto the new pavement, as you had said before, one of the interesting things about the track now with the old pavement and some of the new pavement, transitions that the drivers have to make and understanding the different levels of grip. Looks like we're starting to get there. They've got the flatbed into, I think, probably grab Sierra's car. But again, losing valuable time here for these young drivers. Again, working lap number 3, a couple laps in the books. This event's scheduled for 12 laps or 40 minutes, so still a long time to go. We're not even 10 minutes in, so a solid time window for us here. Lucas Cole getting the job done first and foremost. Rasmus Lint did get a better start, got a jump coming up to the line, but again, you get in that draft coming down this long straightaway to turn number 1. Cole was able to dive to the left and make that run around the outside just as Kyle Kirkwood did yesterday to take the lead and then run all the way to the checkered flag as the race winner. Kirkwood comes in with the point lead. It's been a strong season for the young driver out of Florida. But again, of some of these rookies here,
sounds like lights out. We may go green this time by. Safety team and the wrecker leaving the scene in turn 5, so we may get this race underway.
Kudos to them. That was some quick work from what we saw when the cars were there to actually getting them on the flatbed and up on the tow truck and done. So indeed, we're going to go back to green flag racing. We didn't lose much here at all. Congratulations and thank you to the crew here at Road America. They'll stack it up. Rasmus Lint right on the gearbox of Lucas Cole. The two Pabst racing cars first and second and third as well with Kalen Frederick. Here they go. They'll climb onto the throttle here as they'll work their way up the straightaway. Again, all these Mazda MZR power plants at full song by the time we get to start finish. Indeed, Rasmus Lint going to take a run here now. The rookie trying to go around Lucas Cole, third-year driver in USF 2000, side by side. Look at Kirkwood. He's going to try to go around the outside of Kalen Frederick. He can't do it. But we have a new leader. Rasmus Lint's been able to take away the lead. We're 3 wide again, coming in further back in the field. And that's some fast drivers trying to get forward. Eric Mateus, Solar-Obel, Darren Keene. They want to waste no time trying to get back into the fray here mid-pack.
Well, you got to use the restart to your advantage. You got to pick off the slower traffic right away, because if you hang back there too long, then those leaders pull away from you and you're not able to chase them down. We've seen a couple of races all weekend where even if you slip back to the 10th or 11th position, you can get back to a top 4. We saw Parker Thompson do that yesterday. So we know you can do it, but you got to get as many spots on those restarts. Take advantage of those opportunities when you can.
Yeah, Newman Walks driver Darren Keene doing a great job. He was able to get by, I believe, Daniel Frost, Bruno Tomaselli, and I think Mateus Solar-Obel as well. So 4 spots in the opening corner there for Darren Keene, who had a 10th place finish yesterday and fell to the tail of the field after the incident here on the opening lap. Drivers finally settling in. We're now single file coming down to hurry downs, turn number 8. They'll rock out of that corner, get the car to rotate back on the throttle to head into this carousel. The downhill, off-camber, right-hander, such an important part of this racetrack, because, of course, Eric, leads into that long run all the way over to Canada Corner.
And getting through out of 10 with a lot of momentum to get all of that speed, you can see different lines being used. It really depends on how the car is handling. If you got a little bit of understeer or oversteer, you're changing your entrance to that carousel to get that run through Kettle Bottoms down to Canada.
So the key here, let's watch Kyle Kirkwood. He's your point leader. He's trying to go to work to the outside of Kalen Frederick right now. Kirkwood, I believe, through. Indeed, no, he does not get through. I think that Frederick able to hold him back. Kirkwood went to the outside, but as we've seen quite a few times here this weekend, you'll see the drivers get a little wide coming out of that corner over under the rumbles and even over into the grass. We saw a lot of that in USF 2000 and Pro Mazda yesterday. And indeed, Kyle Kirkwood's lost some ground. He got shoved to the outside of the racetrack trying to do that outside run. Cars diving to the inside here as well. Wow, this is some tremendous racing. That's a little further back in the pack. I believe coming across the line there, that might have been D'Orlando, Dickerson, and Dupel. Again, down into 1. We're watching Alex Barron working his way forward. Now into the 10th position. Barron, look at this battle here, though, for that 5th spot. P5, Julian Vanderwatt and Colin Kaminsky scrapping it out for 5th as the front-running quartet trying to stretch away. But that was, Eric, a real defensive move down to the inside of turn number 3. You save your position, but you give up so much exit speed.
Well, right, and when you're going into a long straightaway like what 3 leads into 4A underneath that Sargento Bridge into 5, that momentum that you lose on exit costs you at least a car length or 2 by the time you get down to the braking zone. So clearly you want to make sure that you're being defensive, but at the same time, you have to make sure that you're rotating that car through the center of the corner, rotating the mass to make sure that that car gets as much speed off on exit.
It's all about forward bite, right? You got to get the car pointed in the right direction. The sooner you're pointed in the direction and can climb back on the throttle, the better. The only way to make a straightaway longer is not to go deeper into the braking zone. You have to get on the throttle a lot earlier, and that's key in turn number 3. Now, one of the runs I'm watching right now is Corey Enders in the DE Force Racing number 11, able to get by Keith Donigan, now putting the pressure on Colin Kaminsky. That move to the inside for Colin allowed Vanderwatt to close up. It allowed Enders, Donigan, and Fraga to get there as well. So not only did they lose the exit speed coming out of turn number 3, but everybody behind them ran that proper line and really closed up all the way down into turn number 5.
I believe we may have had a spin over in turn 8. It might be Dickerson. I believe they called the 9 car. We'll check that when they come back to the start-finish line. But when the timing and scoring updates. But another spin and continue in turn 8. We saw quite a bit of brake lock up over there on this last lap. And again, a little bit of lack of grip over in turn 8 right now.
Lucas Cole still leading Rasmus Lint and Kalen Frederick as it's a Pabst Racing 1-2-3. Full course caution being thrown here at start finish by Paul Blevins. Kirkwood resets fast lap of the race coming through, but indeed a full course caution on the racetrack. Trying to check out some of the monitors here, Eric, to see if we can see if there's an incident on track.
There's an issue in turn 12. A car may have gone into the gravel trap in turn 12. So
two drivers off, indeed. Yeah, coming out of Canada Corner, I believe that is that.
Yeah, Canada Corner on the exit.
Couple drivers.
At least two. Not sure. Waiting to see who it is. It looks like it may be.
That's one of the Newman Walks Racing entries for sure, and a Pelfrey car.
Quite a bit of damage on the Pelfrey car.
Look at that.
Rear.
Yeah, the left probably and right rear wing as well. Been told that potentially that car may have rolled over coming through there. So great to see both drivers getting out. I think one of that might be Darren Keene. Indeed, Darren Keene involved with one of the Team Pelfrey cars, Kyle Dupel. So Kyle Dupel and Darren Keene, a couple of young drivers that I've had a chance to watch run karts for the last number of years. They're not going to be happy with this incident coming out of the Canada Corner. They're working their way up at 12 through 13 over to 14. But happy that Kyle Dupel is fine after potentially going over in the Team Pelfrey number 81. That's the damage you saw there, man.
And, there's one corner marshal's reporting that it hopped, and the other corner marshal's reporting that they did see it go end over end. So,
well, looking at the damage on the car.
Quite a bit, yeah.
So, again, another full course yellow here as we were 5 laps in to a 12-lap contest. Darren Keene and Kyle Dupel. Again, Keene trying to recover after the incident at the start. He ends up working his way forward a couple of spots, then dropping back down.
And bringing the Gale over to help remove some of the cars here in the corner. You know, the interesting thing to note, it's still 22 and a half minutes or so left in the timer. Plenty of time to get this race restarted. As long as both drivers are okay, we'll wait for the AMR safety team to arrive as well.
The beneficiary of this one here, Dakota Dickerson, he had spun, as you said, in turn number 8. That would have put him well back. He's still in 13th position. The spin and continue, and he is able to get back up to the guys in front of him. So Dickerson with a little bit of luck there. There's Dupel walking away, young driver to Portland, Oregon. Again, Darren Keene from Boca Raton, Florida. That corner, Eric, is where you're rolling through. Again, another important corner where you know exit speed's key. You got to get out of turn number 12, back through 13, again, through 14. There's just so much. The speed you get coming out of Canada Corner really does translate to be honest, down in turn number 1 as well. And you just can't make a mistake down there, but you're rolling so much speed. And then if you get off track and you get maybe sideways and you transition from the pavement runoff into the grass there, all it takes is to bite one wheel and you can go over for sure.
You know, one of the concerns when you're in turn 12 like that, it looks like definitely contact in the right rear for the 36 machine.
Darren Keene, you're right. That is a damage to the right rear suspension. So if you want to try to extrapolate from that, potentially Dupel trying to go to the inside as the move was being made to the outside, left front to right rear contact. Miguel doing an amazing job of getting Keene's car out of the way already. I'm sure he'll drop that one down, come back and get the car of Dupel. And again, we'll be able to go back to green flag racing. Let's reset now here as the field coming by start finish. Lucas Cole, your leader. Rasmus Lint in second. Kyle Kirkwood able to get into third, so he gets one spot for the Pabst team. Frederick in fourth. Julian Vanderwatt fifth. Colin Kaminsky in sixth. Corey Anderson seventh. Alex Barron now up to eighth. Keith Donigan in ninth, and Igor Fraga for Exclusive Autosport in 10th. Team Medics Michael DiOrlando in 11th. Calvin Ming from Pabst in 12th. Dakota Dickerson for Arms Up Motorsports resets himself in 13th. Mateus Solarobo, Daniel Frost, Bruno Tomaselli, and Oscar De La Zuriaga, who had trouble early, now find themselves battling within the top 15 or trying to get into the top 15. Sometimes you just got to stay out of trouble. Jacob Abel continuing as well. So 18 drivers, it appears, to continue. Cabrera came into the pits. I'm not sure. I think he was able to get back out, maybe back into pit lane to make another either adjustment or repair for Manuel Cabrera. Currently ranked 19th. He does have all 6 laps in the books at this point.
I believe he had some contact yesterday as well that ended their day early. Not a good weekend for those guys here at Road America.
Interesting talking to the team owner of Exclusive Autosport, Michael Duncalf. The issue, of course, with Manuel Cabrera, ripped the front wing off, and actually what it did was it actually cut the brake line as well. That's why he went off track, because he had no brakes. You don't want to say he was lucky that happened, but
not a place you want to run out of brakes.
The problem is he had been off track before, it pulled some grass, and the engine was actually overheating, very close to actually boil all the fluid out of it. He might have blew the engine. So it's one of those give and takes where, in the end, for Manuel Cabrera, that might have been a lucky thing, otherwise having to replace one of the Mazda power plants. But Cabrera, a solid young rookie driver, getting his feet wet here in the USF 2000 program in 2018, and just kind of getting more comfortable with what is required driving these Tatis USF 17 cars. And I'll tell you, they're really able to stretch their legs here at Road America. It's one of the things we love about coming here is, we'll run some of the street courses where, there's some long straightaways, but you're not really getting to the very full potential of the car. Same said to Barber Motorsports Park, where it's just the undulations. You're really handling that car, the ups and downs and some of the sweepers. We get here to Road America, and we'll find out what these engines can do and the cars can do, because they obviously rip out of turn number 14, and, man, it's that nice long run down into turn number 1.
What I really like about these cars as well is they're so light, they're so nimble. Unfortunately, it does take a little bit longer to put heat in the tires.
True. That's very, very true. We see that in qualifying, right? Whereas Indy Lights maybe lap 1 or lap 2, when you're trying to match all the aspects of getting that qualifying run laid down, tire pressure, tire temp, peak tire. It happens so early. Pro Mazda a little bit longer than, as you said, sometimes we'll see guys, and on a regular basis, the fastest run is the 5th or 6th lap once they've gone to new rubber in qualifying. It just takes a little bit longer, as you said, to get these drivers to bring these Coopers up to temperature. And a lot of times we're qualifying pretty early in the morning as well. So it looks to me, Eric, like they're just getting the final car off the track. So we're probably going to be able to go to green. The AMR safety team's going to leave the scene as well.
Yeah, safety car's off in 13.
Yeah. We're going racing, folks. Here we are again. Top 4 drivers will stack them up. Gearbox to nose all the way back to Kalen Frederick. Julian Vanderwaat's heading to pit lane. Trouble for Vanderwaat, pulling off from 5th. Why wouldn't he have... I don't know why he wouldn't have done that a lap earlier, but Vanderwaat pulls off from 5th. That's going to move Colin Kaminsky to the position. And further back, look out. Now that may have been a drive-through penalty. That's a potential drive-through for Julian Vanderwaat, for him to come in to start the race like that. We'll watch to see if he drives all the way through and comes back onto the racing surface. But again, back to racing. Here we go. Kirkwood, he's going to make his bid for second. He'll go down to the inside. Indeed, Kirkwood to the inside of Rasmus Lint, I believe.
Still a lot of breakup into turn 3 here on that start.
Kyle Kirkwood, knowing he had to go head-to-head against 3 of the 4 Pabst racing cars. So, we're getting aggressive coming down into turn number 5, Eric. That was a little bit of a pinch down to the inside. Kirkwood getting held back. They'll come down into the braking zone of 5. Draw driver off. I believe that was Lucas Cole. Cole overcooks it. The Belco-sponsored number 22. I want to say he went off at turn number 5. Oh, contact, more contact. That's one of the DE Force cars. Top of the hill at turn number 6. Man, you hope the cooler heads will prevail, but we have had a rough one here. 2 drivers together in turn number 6. And that was a driver on the inside trying to make the move, Eric. Just got too overzealous. That was right front to left rear contact. I'm not sure if that was Corey Enders on Colin Kaminsky.
And Ming.
And Ming, you think?
21 and the 11 is what I believe that they're reporting. So that would be...
that must have been a great start for Calvin Ming to come from 10th to get up into that fight with Enders. 5 laps to go in the race. Now, at this point, there's a shot of the 2 cars there. Hard to pick up which car it is to the right. Whether it looks
Frost has pulled off as well somewhere.
Wow, attrition. Definitely a storyline here for the opening race of this weekend.
I think what actually happened is Enders got woed up because of Cole going off and dropped back a couple of spots into 5, and that's how Ming ended up making contact with Enders.
Piecing together the puzzle
here.
Right?
You're just trying to think how you can get 2 cars that are on the restart 7 cars apart and now make contact. So definitely something going on in the back. But full course caution for the third time.
You know, and it was actually Rasmus Lint who went off. It wasn't Lucas Cole. It was Lint with the red end plate. Here's a replay coming up through turn number 6. So Lint goes off. Yeah, we're essentially three wide. Yeah, they're 3 wide, and that was just
that's early contact. That's well before even turn in there.
Yeah, that looked to me like the driver coming across. I think maybe Corey Enders might have wanted to hold up a little bit there. I don't know, because he was on the inside. That might have been kind of an early turn in to try to put as a block move, and it just didn't go well. That is for sure. Indeed, you're right. It was Corey Enders and Calvin Ming top of the hill. I think Calvin Ming maybe turning in a little early to try to see if he couldn't defend from Corey Enders, and they were looking 3 wide, as you said, as Enders was having a peek to the inside. So a ton of drivers getting involved there. We're already, 17 down to 26 out of this race. Lucas Cole is your leader. Kyle Kirkwood second. We still have lots of time. That's the thing. We've got 4 laps to go in 13 minutes. Whenever we do get back to green, we're going to still have a chance to finish all the laps. But Lucas Cole and Kyle Kirkwood first and second. Kirkwood is loving what's happening right now. He's been able first to get by Kalen Frederick. Then Rasmus Lint overshoots the braking zone in turn number 5. He goes off. Kirkwood finds himself now in second with a shot at potentially going after another race win. Kalen Frederick now runs in third. Colin Kaminsky, his best career effort thus far, running in the 4th position in this Slick Locks number 27. Igor Fraga in 5th spot. Michael D'Orlando in 6th. D'Orlando up to 6th. Dickerson after the spin in turn number 8 benefits from the yellows. He's in 7th. Kyle Donegan in 8th. Mateus Soler-Obel in 9th. Alex Barron, obviously, I want to say he might have got caught up in the incident where, actually, he might have got caught up in that incident and had to check up because I think he was right behind Ming and Enders. That puts Barron back to 10th. Manuel Cabrera up to 11th. Bruno Tomaselli in 12th. Oscar De La Zuriaga 13th. Jacob Abel 14th. I haven't seen Rasmus Lint come back around to get lap number 8, Eric, so I don't know if potentially Lint went off so quick he may have made contact with the tires in the runoff area. I don't, because he went off with a head of steam.
That was, he was full lock going through 5, and that's not a deep runoff area. No. It is, but you have to navigate 2 tire barriers. But yeah, it'd be really easy for him to make contact back in that turn 5 cutoff area.
Well, he hasn't come around to complete lap number 8. So let's just say at this point, lap down for Rasmus Lint, which a shame. 5th place yesterday, a couple of pole positions, but nonetheless, I want to say not so much a breakout weekend, but at least he gave us a really good look at the talent that young Swedish driver has. And I know that he's going to be in the fight for some race wins before this season is over. So drivers out of the race: Rasmus Lint, Corey Enders, Calvin Ming, Daniel Frost, Julian Vanderwatt, Kyle Duppel, Darren Keene, David Osborne, Jose Sierra, Max Peichel, Sabre Cook, and Russell McDonough. We haven't had this much attrition in a USF 2000 race in a couple of years. We're going to be, we got 3 to go, 4 to go. 4 laps remaining, I believe. Or will they put lap? I think they'll put.
Should be 3 to go this time.
I think they'll put lap 9 in the books now as they come around. So
you should get a green-white checker finish.
Oh, here we go.
What do you do with a race that they've been lack of overall grip, little physical, and then you're going to give them 2-lap sprint?
Well, and you're going to look at some guys to get super aggressive. You got Alex Barron's going to be just seething, whatever, because he has worked his way from 11th to 8th, back to 9th, then 10th, then back up again. He'll be dying to work his way forward. But guys like Dakota Dickerson coming up nicely into the 7th position. Great run for him. Taking some time to get the cars loaded up here. Hoping we're going to get at least a green-white check or 2-lap dash to wrap this thing up.
The problem is with all the contact, all of the wreckers are busy at the moment. So you get to a point where you almost run out of wrecker.
Right. Slamming those cars in the boneyard. Yeah, they're still so they've got the car of Corey Enders up on the hook. At this point, they can see what we can do here with that car of Calvin Ming, the number 21.
Yeah, we may not even get 2 laps of green. We may only get 1 lap of green.
Agreed.
If they go back.
So at this point, Lucas Cole, your leader. But he's got the point leader right behind him, Kyle Kirkwood. And I'll tell you, Lucas Cole waiting to get his first victory.
For Kirkwood, really he dropped down quite a few spots at the initial start. And then with the advantage for him was multiple yellows, able to kind of capitalize and leapfrog a couple of cars to get back to where he's sitting on the podium right now.
The funny thing about Kyle Kirkwood, right now he could take a second-place finish and have a massive lead in the points, especially with all these drivers who are battling in the title chase, finishing behind him. But, you know, when you get a guy like Kirkwood who wants to win races, he's going to go to work trying to get by Lucas Cole. Lucas, of course, trying to get his first ever race win in the Mazda Road to Indy. Young driver out of Brazil, finished on the podium here last year, and again would love to be able to get that win, his first, kind of get that monkey off his back. Lucas Cole working with Roberto Moreno, his driver coach. And Lucas has really developed over the last couple of years. Began his career in this program with John Comiskey Racing. Moved last year to Pabst Racing and then got quicker throughout the season, of course, running with Renus VK and Calvin Ming. And it really has shown good speed this year. I think it would be a positive for the Road to Indy if Lucas would be able to stand on top of the podium. But again, he's got his teammate Caleb Frederick in third. He's got Kyle Kirkwood in second. This is going to be a barn burner for sure. You know Kirkwood's going to take a run at it. 3 laps to go. It'll be 2 to go when they come back around. We may get, indeed, unless they are able to get this car of Calvin Ming out of the way, we may see a white flag, a green and white, and having 1 lap to drop the hammer to see where everyone finishes. Again, Lucas Cole, your leader. Kyle Kirkwood second. Caleb Frederick in third. Colin Kaminsky fourth. And Igor Fraga now up into the 5th position. Michael,
some fans may be asking themselves, why don't they slow the pace car down a little bit, try to give them a little bit more room? You can't. Really, you need to keep the heat in these tires.
So that's
why
the heat in the tires. We need the air coming through the radiators to keep the engines cool. And these cars don't run that slow. They're at whatever gear you're in, you're only going to be able to hold a certain pace. Now they're just grabbing the car of Calvin Ming. I think we're pretty close here. I think we'll probably be able to go green next time by. They'll be able to get this car up and pull it off the racetrack.
Which means we'll get 1 lap of green.
Which means we'll get 1 lap of green. Yeah, indeed. Working lap number 11.
Well, they're definitely doing it uniquely.
They are. Multitasking up here. They've got 1 car. That's the number 11 of Corey Enders. The D-Force Racing car on the flatbed. They've lifted up Calvin Ming's car. They're just going to back it up off the track. And indeed, we will be able to go racing this next time by. And we're going to go essentially, as Eric had said, white and green. It is going to be a 1-lap dash. And if you want to see things stack up, because you have got to be sure that Lucas Cole will be driving down the inside of turn number 1, the inside of turn 3, the inside of turn 5. He'll go on full defense mode, trying to score his first win in his Mazda Road to Indy career. And that's going to bring Kaminsky, Fraga, D'Orlando, Dickerson, going to bring all those guys in, because once it stacks up, everybody stacks up. 14 drivers remain on the racetrack. Cole, Kirkwood, Frederick, Kaminsky, and Fraga, top 5. D'Orlando, Dickerson, Donigan, Solar Obel, and Barron, top 10. Cabrera, Tomaselli, De La Zuriaga, and Abel still on the racetrack. Not the start we were looking for to the 2 Mazda Road to Indy events today. Of course, Indy Lights coming up later on. We'll have them on the racetrack for the second run of their doubleheader weekend. Of course, Colton Herta looking to score his 5th straight win of the year. Point leader looking good for Andretti Autosport.
Lights up, flags down is what's coming from race control.
Because the drivers will know it coming up the hill. They'll see that we're almost done here. And as you said, the lights out now on the pace car. We are ready to go. Well, it's going to be exciting. That's all I can tell you. I'm hoping you're enjoying your morning coffee out there wherever you are. Whatever corner you're in, get ready, because these USF 2000 drivers are going to be hungry to try to work their way, whether it's those trying to get into the top 10 or the top 5 or onto the podium, or if you're Kyle Kirkwood and Kalen Frederick trying to get a race win here today. Cole and Frederick have not yet won. Kirkwood, of course, a number of victories this year. Only 1 driver in the top 5. Indeed, Kirkwood has been able to win before. So every one of these drivers, other than Kirkwood, with a shot at trying to score their first Mazda Road to Indy victory. So Lucas Cole will lead them when they come out of turn number 14. 1 lap dash to see who wins race number 2 here at the Kohler Grand Prix. Again, to be in the mind of the drivers here right now, and of course you know that their engineers and spotters are on the radio trying to calm some of these young drivers down. Stay focused. Let's bring this thing home. Especially some of the drivers further back. Listen, you got a good result here now. You stayed out of trouble. You're a top 15 driver. Let's bank some points. Bring this car home in one piece.
But Rob, there's a trophy.
I know, there's a trophy. That's right. I got to win. Well, you know what? Lucas Cole wants that win because he's still in the championship chase. Out of turn number 14, get ready. USF 2000, 1 lap dash to try to decide the podium here in race number 2. Cole's going to get on the throttle early. He'll climb back into it, up the hill. Cole is on it. Kirkwood right there, though. You know he's going to get the draft coming up. Indeed, Kirkwood will park himself on the gearbox. Frederick trying to get up there as well. Not the best start for Kalen Frederick. They'll go down into turn number 1. Kirkwood already to the outside. He's potentially going to get by. He is. He's already passed, but here comes Frederick to the inside. Frederick makes the move to the inside, coming through 1, and they get through cleanly. Down the hill again. Kyle Kirkwood is taking the lead early. Is it too much? Little brake lock up on the right front there for Lucas Cole. That may hurt him getting on the throttle coming back out of turn 3. Eric, here's the run now down to turn number 5.
Underneath the Sargento Bridge, heading towards the braking zone. This is the prime passing opportunity. It's your real one last chance to get a good momentum until 12.
Lucas Cole going to have a look to the inside at turn number 5 as they come down into that braking zone. In fact, the outside, but he runs a little bit wide, put Frederick now into second. That was an outside try there for Lucas Cole. Overcooked it, pushed a bit wide, couldn't get the car to rotate. And I'll tell you, Frederick doing the outside in, he now goes to P2. It's about 4 car lengths as they come out of turn number 6 through 7. So at this point here, Kalen Frederick in the driver's seat trying to go to work on Kyle Kirkwood. Now it's all going to come down to having the speed through the carousel.
A lot of K's in the front podium right now.
No doubt about that. Kirkwood, Frederick, 1-2. Look at Kirkwood pulling away. He gets out of the carousel so cleanly, able to work his way over to the kink with probably about 4 or 5 car lengths. I don't know if Kirkwood's got anything going into Canada corner. He needed to be a lot closer coming out of the carousel. But Frederick now into second. Kirkwood, your leader. Good racing further back. Kaminsky's dropped a spot. I think Igor Fraga up there now to challenge Lucas Cole. Indeed, Fraga on the outside. Cole on the inside coming through Canada. One of them well off the track. That was Fraga got shuffled off to the outside. Kaminsky back into 4th. Fraga back to 5th. Here comes the run to the line. Kirkwood coming out of 14. Frederick throwing everything he can at him. Can't quite get the job done. What a weekend. Everyone else around them losing their minds, but not Kyle Kirkwood. Double checker. A win at Road America. Back-to-back jacks for Kyle Kirkwood. Kirkwood, your point leader, winning again. Kalen Frederick in second. Lucas Cole in third. Colin Kaminsky 4th. Igor Fraga in 5th. Michael D'Orlando 6th. Keith Donigan in 7th. Alex Barron 8th. Mateus Soler-Obel 9th, and Manuel Cabrera able to get into the 10th position. But Eric Mueller, what a battle there. The Pabst Racing drivers threw everything they could at it. Lucas Cole trying to go back around Kirkwood in 5, pushed a little wide. Frederick taking full advantage of it. He gets to the inside, takes the spot going up to turn 6, but just couldn't quite get the job done. Moving, of course, at the end of the straightaway at Canada Corner.
You know, Cole kind of giving up the win, so to speak. He had a little bit of red mist in his eyes, and then when Fraga tried to put some pressure on, he and Fraga really went toe-to-toe through Canada on that final turn, and Fraga unfortunately bounced back a little bit, and Kaminsky able to get back around for a top 5. But Cole, that red mist, he's starting to overdrive the car a little bit. Once he lost that top spot out of 3, he really was struggling to try to just maintain his composure. It looked like he was, really trying to drive pretty deep.
Into turn number 5, obviously Kirkwood staying to the inside. The only thought that Cole had was to go to the outside. He probably could have been a little smoother and got a better run up to 6 and tried to have been 6, or at least been in the position to get the run out of the carousel to get in that draft through the kink and through the kettle bottoms. But the bottom line here is that Kyle Kirkwood finds a way to win again. The point leader stretching his advantage as this series now looks forward to the streets of Toronto in mid-July. Kirkwood, your winner today by Pabst Racing, second and third. Kalen Frederick and Lucas Cole will be on the podium. Best career finish for Colin Kaminsky up into the fourth spot. Igor Fraga remains in the top 5 in points, P5 today. And then again, Michael D'Orlando, Keith Donegan, Alex Barron, Manuel Cabrera, and I believe Dakota Dickerson rounding out the top 10.
And we'll send Rob down to the podium to celebrate and spray a little bit of sparkling cider this morning. But Kohler Company wants to welcome you to Road America as the title sponsor of the 2018 Kohler Grand Prix and longtime supporter of motorsports. We salute your passion and enthusiasm. Enjoy the races. You're invited to nearby destination Kohler where shopping, golfing, dining, and relaxation await. Or visit us online at Kohler.com to explore our kitchen and bath products, engines and power systems, premier cabinetry tile, and more. Greg Creamer, so far we have had a spectacular morning so far. Not quite the race that we anticipated with a little bit too much of that yellow handkerchief in that one. But
as Calvin would say, a fair amount of argy-bargy.
Yes. And nevertheless, still a fantastic Mazda Road to Indy so far here at Road America this weekend.
Oh, I mean, the racing yesterday was just off the hook. Talking to a number of people this morning as I was, coming in here, they were looking forward to this USF 2000 race. And obviously there was that contact, but the racing at the front was just spectacular once again. And I'll tell you what, this Kyle Kirkwood kid,
he is on it.
He figures it out. I mean, he is, I thought Rob put it very well, he figures out a way to win. That's pretty impressive stuff.
So you get a little bit of in that shot there, you get a little bit of an interesting look at the cheat sheet that a lot of drivers, especially in the development ladder, get. There's a dry erase board. And it's like, make sure you thank your sponsors. Make sure thank Cooper Tires, thank Mazda. But there's a reason for that, for the participation.
Well, part of the Mazda Road to Indy program, the whole idea, yes, it's to teach you racecraft and let you advance through the order, but it's also they spend a fair amount of time working with you on your media savvy, and that's just part of the game in this day and age. And the drivers that do that well, especially the ones that it comes naturally to, it makes a big difference.
Well, when you can find someone with the total package, media savvy. Kyle Kirkwood, a fantastic weekend here at Road America as he climbs out of the car. Big smile and
went for a little ride there.
And forgot to put the car in gear.
That's okay. You forgive him. When you sweep a weekend, you're just enjoying the moment. No question about that. And
Absolutely.
He is that. Look at that.
Well, winning in general means something, but to win here at Road America, it's mega.
Just thinking that. It's exactly where I was going. Because we talked about that, right? The two races in America, if you're a road racer that you want to win, is whatever your home race is and Road America. There's just no question about that. And he did it twice. That's impressive stuff.
Yeah, sweep of the weekend. Didn't have as good of a start today and dropped back a little bit. But we talked a little bit before the race, before Rob Howden sat back in the booth, and we talked about how you got to kind of mine the tires at the very outset of this race and wait to go at the end. Now, a lot of yellow in that race, so not a lot of abuse to the tires. But at the same time, you got to be careful, mindful of the tires at the start of the race, and then put pressure on at the end.
Yeah, well, and there were so many cautions that you would. I don't know that until at least maybe 2/3 of the way through the race, some of the drivers, I'm not sure that they ever actually got the tires up to the right temperature. And remember, that affects tire pressures, which affects spring rate. And we were seeing an awful lot of lockup that we weren't seeing yesterday at all. And I just think it was a matter of the tires.
All right, set for podiums. Rob Howden.
And welcome to Victory Lane here at Road America, the second race of the doubleheader for the drivers in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship powered by Mazda. This is the Cooper Tires Grand Prix Road of America powered by Mazda, and three great young drivers on the podium with me here today. And let's bring them out and award some trophies. Finishing in third place today for Pabst Racing, Lucas Cole. Good job, Lucas. And to present Lucas with his third-place trophy, Jason Fournier. Great to have our guest from Cooper Tires joining us here today at Road America. Jason, thanks for coming out. Again, a good run for Lucas Cole. Led for a time, was in that last lap dash to try to get the race win. It was a crazy one for sure. The final lap was a lot of fun to watch. Finishing in second place today, another Pabst Racing driver, Kalen Frederick. And to present Kalen with his second place trophy from Cooper Tires, Tim Park. Tim will get that second place trophy to Kalen Frederick, the young American driver, doing a great job here today, able to work his way into second in turn 5, final lap. Not quite enough to go after our race winner. The driver able to bring the car actually into victory lane here today. The point leader gets 2 race wins. What a tremendous run. A great last lap pass in turn number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Cape Motorsports driver Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle, congratulations, man. You know what? You knew coming into this race you were going to have to battle with the 3 Pabst Racing guys. They started in front of you, but you kind of systematically worked your way up one at a time. What, though, was about that last lap? 1 lap, going from second, out on the outside in turn 1. What were your thoughts going into that final circuit?
Going into that last lap, I knew that I would have the draft coming down the the front straight, and I did the same exact thing to Rasmus, the caution before. So I knew I could get a run as long as I could get around him going into 1. I knew he'd leave the outside open. And fortunately, I got it done, and I was able to hold him off for the rest of the lap.
What about turn number 5, though? Of course, you're leading. Now they're behind you coming down into 5. You went to the inside. Talk about your thoughts there.
It's actually a little bit easier to defend into 5 because it's such a long braking zone. Into 1, I mean, you're only braking for a short period, so somebody can send it around the outside and use a lot of that runoff on the outside, which you can't really in 5. So it was a little bit easier to pass in 1 than to take the opportunity in 5.
Couple of race wins. The championship's looking pretty good right now. You never want to think about that, but it's looking pretty solid.
It is right now. Yeah, I have to thank First Tex, Cape Motorsports, Mazda, Cooper Tires, all my sponsors, all the fans for showing up, my grandparents, my parents for watching back at home, thanks to all of them.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
One more time, folks. What a great young American driver. Kyle Kirkwood, back-to-back jacks here at Road America. And to bring in that first place trophy, one of our guests from Cooper Tires, Jason Eisenschenk, will bring the P1 trophy for a driver who is getting quite a collection here in Mazda Road to Indy competition. Top young kart racer in the sport and has transitioned through, won the F4 U.S. Championship last year, then transitions in here to the Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Definitely another one of these young drivers to watch here in American Open Wheel Motorsports. Kyle Kirkwood just getting the job done. Such a professional driver, and to be able to do it at the end of the race there where he had to battle against 3 drivers from the same team, Pabst Racing, just was able to pick them off one at a time. He went from 4th to 3rd, then made the move to 2nd, and then a great run on the final lap, knowing that he could go around the outside of turn number 1 and then get that defense line down into turn number 5. Big win for him, another doubleheader weekend, coming off a win as well at Lucas Oil Raceway in the oval race, the Freedom 75. Kyle Kirkwood now with a commanding lead in this championship, which, of course, remember, gives them this scholarship. Whoever wins this championship, a scholarship to run next year in the Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tires. A very lucrative scholarship package to be able to work with Mazda and continue your move up the Mazda Road to Indy. 3 talented young drivers making to the podium here today at Road America in the second end of the doubleheader. Of course, Lucas Cole back here again. He was on the podium last year here at Road America. Kalen Frederick as well. Great run. A couple of Pabst Racing drivers in 2nd and 3rd. And it's Cape Motorsports coming through for a fantastic run. More Mazda Road to Indy action coming still today. The Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires will cap off their doubleheader weekend before the Verizon IndyCar Series race today. But again, always a special trip for anyone here in the Mazda Road to Indy to come to Road America. Love this racetrack, love this town, love this state. But from here, the USF 2000 drivers will now look forward to heading to the streets of Toronto, the only race north of the border for these drivers. They look forward to getting up to Toronto and going head-to-head once again to see who will stand atop the podium in that street race doubleheader. So again, just enjoying things down here in the podium area, Victory Lane, the hat dance. Of course, big thanks to our sponsors, Mazda, Cooper Tires, Royal Purple. And again, here we are in the home state of Elite Engines, who provide all the power plants for both our USF 2000 and Pro Mazda categories. So big thanks to Steve Knapp and his entire family. That team that makes sure that our drivers all have equal power. Of course, we have the traditional champagne spray to cap things off here. And, of course, with drivers in USF 2000, I think every driver we have under 21 in this category. So it's not champagne. It's going to be sparkling cider. But the celebration is no less than it would be if they were 21, 22 years of age. These guys are on their way up the ranks. They know what they're trying to do here, and that is to see if they can't work their way to the Verizon IndyCar Series. So, ladies and gentlemen, capping things off here today for USF 2000, a fantastic doubleheader weekend. Kyle Kirkwood, the young American driver for Cape Motorsports, a couple of victories as the Apple Cider set to fly. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, a round of applause for the top three drivers in USF 2000. Kyle Kirkwood with the win. Kalen Frederick at second, and Lucas Cole finishing third.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Radio check.
So with the first oval race of 2018 upon us here in Indianapolis, Indiana, we're going to spend a little bit of time getting to know the drivers and the preferences of their helmets, what went into the design, and why they choose to wear the helmet that they do. So we're going to head over to Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Brownsburg, Indiana, as well as spend a little bit of time here at the new Bell Helmet Shop on Main Street in Speedway, Indiana, learning about these drivers and the helmets they choose to wear out on the track. So one of the Bell Helmet athletes competing this weekend in Indianapolis, Kyle Kirkwood. Now, Kyle, I've always admired your helmet through karting, and here on the Mazda Road Indy, it's really unique. Just talk to us a little bit about what went into it.
This is a design that I've had for a few years now. This is actually the second edition of this, and with this helmet, I did the 8 ball on the top, as you can see.
Well, yeah, it's painted by Art Infinity in Brazil. And then it's just pretty straightforward. I mean, I kept the background black and then just do the orange stripes to kind of do a match over it. And then, of course, the Brazilian flag because I'm from Brazil.
Well, this helmet is probably my favorite helmet that I've had. Of course, all of them are Bell because to me, the Bell helmet just feels like a sock. Anytime I put it right, just don't feel right. So this is obviously very comfortable. I have the colors. I have like a blue, orange, black. Obviously my 2 flags, American and Lithuania. The colors I've had ever since I started racing. It was from my first helmet design, and now ever since that we've kind of just added more to it, kind of as like more modernized.
So I first came out with this design in I think 2012. Sensport Graphics and he's from Boise area as well, so we kind of had a conglomeration of ideas that went into it. But first off, I had the kind of crown of thorns look to it, and also the Godspeed is kind of my signature line that I like to have on all my helmets, just to kind of represent my faith. And also on the back, right here, we have John 3:30, which is my favorite Bible verse. And yeah, I chose the fluorescent yellow just because my mom wanted me to be able to be seen on the track, and so now she can see me while I'm out there.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license took 2 tries. Bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band. Loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
Out a good jump for Colton Herta. USF 2000 Oliver Askew! Urrutia will slip around and grab the lead. Franzoni with the victory. Kyle Kaiser, champion of the 2017
Use the command. Do you know what it means to race here?
Green, green, green. We are green.
Do you know the opportunities that exist here?
Do you know the pressure? All around the country.
All around the world.
There's drivers young and old. We want the chance to do what we are doing. What we are fighting for.
What we're racing for.
We've raced our whole lives and sacrificed so much.
Oh, we have contact!
We've worked hard.
Stayed up late. And gotten up early.
We've proven doubters wrong and made our supporters proud.
Our dream is in front of us. The only thing left to do
is win.
PM18 has a performance level and a drivability that fits it right in between the USF 17 and the Indy Lights car. We've added horsepower to this car to make it more like the Indy Lights car.
This car has a ton of mechanical grip, 6-speed paddle shifters. The cool part is it revs all the way to 9 grand. It's going to be a great platform for the Mazda Road Indy.
I'm Rob Howden, the Mazda Road to Indy Insider. As always, so much going on here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As I work my way through the paddock, having to talk to some key people, I saw Nelson Mason, a driver I talked about at St. Petersburg. He's a young Canadian with a lot of European experience, really wants to get into the Indy Lights program with Team Pelfrey. They're putting the funding together right now. We expect to see him on the streets of Toronto in his home country, but he would also like to get on track at Road America in June to see if he can get some seat time before heading to the streets. In addition, a couple of drivers not racing here this weekend. Very disappointing to not have Jamie Caroline in his BN Racing USF 2000 car at the Carbonite Classic. Family emergency at home. He was here in Indianapolis, but had to fly home immediately to take care of the family. Two other drivers not here, but not overly surprised. Sabra Cook and Michael D'Orlando not here for Team Bennick, as they are looking to try to keep putting together their funding for 2018. The oval at Lucas Oil Raceway, always precarious. If you have a wreck, it's often going to be a big one. They elected not to run at the Lucas Oil Raceway Carbonite Classic, the Freedom 75. They'll look forward to being back on track at Road America at the end of June. And to cap off this segment of The Insider, let's talk about this weekend at Indianapolis. It's all oval, no road course. The USF 2000 and Pro Mazda drivers running at Lucas Oil Raceway. They're learning this discipline. It's so unique. It's not like road course racing. It's something absolutely in and of itself. Now, one of the big things they have to deal with is the spotters. There are the eyes and ears of these young drivers as they're out there pounding around the bank.
Series presented by Cooper Tires for 20 laps around Road America. Happy to have a couple fine guests in the booth today. Former Indy Lights driver Shelby Blackstock, as well as Trackside Online Steve Whittick. And Shelby, Road America, every driver I talk to says they absolutely love this place. Your thoughts on this 14-turn, 4-mile road course?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the great American tracks. I mean, it's very, very long, lot of really long straightaways, so it really opens up a lot of passing opportunities. Every single time we've been here, I mean, the starts, the restarts, I mean, it's always a great, fun race.
And Steve, yesterday we saw a really competitive race. Colton Herta, that young man is absolutely on fire right now.
He really is. He's turned it on the last 4 races, and it's been impressive. He hasn't started on pole. Last year he was sort of pole man, and then he'd fall back. This year he started a little further back, but worked his way through the field and made some really good passes and been a really mature driver over the last 4 races.
On the pole today, it is the driver from Mexico, Pato Ward, who enters today's event 13 points behind Colton Herta, second in the championship standings. Caught up with him after he scored that pole position yesterday.
Pato Award, a big one here for you. I think you were not happy yesterday after qualifying. You wanted a little bit more, but you get it done here today. And qualifying really kind of has been a strong suit for you this year. You've been good in these sessions. Talk us through that session there. How did the car feel?
Yeah, it's just, we made some changes according to yesterday. We just made a change yesterday that we thought would have been good, but it wasn't. So we had to, to go back to what we were using, and there's a big difference between a race car and a qualifying car. So, it's kind of hard to choose where you go when you've been so fast, in all tires and whatnot. So we got down to work yesterday. I told Mark exactly what corners I needed the car to be stable at. We first went out, the track was really, really cold. But then when we put the second set of tires, I could tell the grip was way, way more. So then I pushed it really hard on that fly that I knew was going to be the one and where the tire has its peak. And we threw down a monster lap.
Let's go quickly back to you. Mentioned the fact that a qualifying car and a race car are a little bit different. Do you feel like you have a setup for the race that's going to be strong too?
Yeah, we've been working really hard, including the test on a race car, because in Indy GP we were just weak. I didn't have the pace in the race, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm here to win. I'm here to win a race. I want to win both races. I'm starting 4th today. It's going to be a little bit harder. Good thing is around here you can actually pass, so it's going to be an interesting one. But we're we're going to be fast.
That was the voice of our pole sitter, Pato O'Ward, with Rob Howden yesterday after he scored that pole position. And Rob Howden, what an absolutely picture-perfect, beautiful day as we are set to go racing for race number 2 here in Indy Lights.
You know, coming into the weekend, there was thoughts of potential rain. Not at all. And it's, again, a gorgeous, beautiful blue sky here at Road America. Interesting that we've had fluctuating temperatures, Nick, throughout the weekend in terms of what these Indy Lights drivers are getting. Yesterday was a much warmer day. Here, midday or earlier in the morning, we're looking at 70-degree ambient temperature, only 89-degree track temperature. So, again, we keep throwing these variables at the drivers, at the teams, and we'll see who came up with the right combination when we go racing here today.
It's been a very quick one pace lap here around Road America. Out on the course, we've got Michael Young in turn number 1. Dave First is positioned down at turn number 5. Jake Query back up the hill around turns 8 and 9 as these drivers make their way through turn number 14 for the final time at pace speed. It is Pato O'Ward and Victor Franzoni on the front row, Santi Urrutia and Colton Herta in row 2, Aaron Tielitz, Ryan Norman in row 3, and Dalton Kellett, the final starter. As they roar up the hill, it's time to go racing at Road America in the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires. They crest the hill. Both Pato O'Ward and Franzoni jump on the throttle, and we are racing at Road America. And, Michael, what a great jump for Pato O'Ward.
Indeed it was. Victor Franzoni tries to tuck back inside, but it's the Bellardi racing machine of Santi Urrutia that will take that second position. Pato O'Ward, Urrutia, Victor Franzoni, they're single filed down into turn 3.
Pato O'Ward leads him. A little lock-up for Santi Urrutia on the right front as he makes his way through turn number 4. Further back, the Andretti teammates of Norman and Kellett look like they may have had a little bit of contact, but it is Pato O'Ward who leads them underneath the Sargento Bridge. Looks like Colton Herta is going to pop out and take a look for 4th position, Dave First, as they head to turn 5.
Colton Herta around the outside trying to make up some ground. The winner yesterday, but right now it's Pato O'Ward, Santi Urrutia, Victor Franzoni, then Colton Herta. He's running 5th, Jay Query.
Dave, it was Colton Herta yesterday that made the move this early in the race and found himself towards the front. He had started again in the 4th position. That's where he is. A lot of dirt being kicked up. That's Colton Herta, and that's going to allow for Aaron Tielitz to take a hard look, but he's not able to make that move. It's the battle for 4th. Now Tielitz tries to go to the outside. Herta shuts the door. The leader is already now all the way through the carousel. That's Pato O'Ward, a sizable advantage. Then you wait, then it's Urrutia, Franzoni, then Colton Herta, then behind him is Aaron Tielitz, Ryan Norman, then you wait a while for Dalton Kellett.
Shelby Blackstock, this is such a fast racetrack. How easy is it for these drivers to hang the left or right side tires off on exit? Because we've seen it all weekend.
Yeah, it's super easy. I mean, the biggest thing here is this racetrack was really designed for like really Trans Am and all those kind of other big cars. So the actual rumble strips are so violent that once you get on them and you're fully loaded, it actually kind of sucks the car completely off the road. So the very, very aggressive curbs, very, very aggressive exit curbing. So that's a big part of it.
Out of turn 14, nice lead for Pato O'Ward as he streaks up the hill, and it looks like Dalton Kellett, we now see him making his way through Canada Corner, has a flat left rear tire. So Kellett will head to pit lane. Michael Young, the leaders, head to turn 1.
4 car length advantage, Pato O'Ward, then Santi Urrutia, Victor Franzoni. Then you got about an 8 car length back to Colton Herta. You talked about, or you heard Jay Query talk about him going off track a little bit. Aaron Tielitz right behind him, but a nice sizable advantage for Pato O'Ward.
And Shelby, quickly, we just saw a replay of what happened to Dalton Kellett. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like Dalton was really just fighting for position. Had the inside line, kind of tracked out a little bit into Norman, and it's really a tough break. I mean, Kellett's had a very, very rough weekend, and this is the last thing. Really just put icing on the cake for a weekend for him. Really unfortunate, really annoying also.
Yep, he'll head to pit lane to get that tire serviced. Meanwhile, the leaders back up underneath the Corvette bridge. Pato O'Ward's lead, Jay Query, last time across the stripe was 1.2 seconds.
This time it doesn't look as great, but Pato O'Ward's still a comfortable advantage. But entering turn number 8, all of a sudden now Urrutia is able to make up a little bit of ground. Then a gap back to Franzoni, then Colton Herta, who's still trying to hold off Aaron Tielitz. Taking a look back up towards the front. It's Pato O'Ward through turn number 10. He keeps that left side rubber off of that outside rumble strip. Everybody now very cleanly single file in through turn number 11.
First report from Ryan Marine down on pit lane. You can see that 28 car of Dalton Kellett.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, for the second time in as many races this weekend, Dalton Kellett comes to pit road with a flat Cooper tire. Not the weekend he was looking for, that's for sure. The team has replaced the Cooper. They have sent him back out. A quick look at the suspension to make sure everything was in order. they gave it a quick thumbs up and sent him back out on the racetrack, but he needs a caution to get caught back up with the field.
Yep, the good news, this massive 4-mile, 14-turn course, even the Indy Lights cars can come to pit lane, and you can service those machines, get them back out of the racetrack, and not lose a lap. Pato O'Ward across the line, completing lap number 2 here at Road America. The lead is 9/10 of a second, Michael Young.
Yeah, indeed, Santiarutia is starting to close in as Victor Franzoni falls back. Colton Herta not able to make up any ground. Santiarutia very disappointed with that 4th-place finish yesterday. He got out of the car extremely unhappy, trying to be a little more aggressive here at the early stages of this race.
Yep, Urrutia kept off the podium yesterday, and he is starting to run down our leader underneath the Sargento Bridge. Call it 2, maybe 3 car lengths as they set up for turn 5. Dave, first, we've got a battle for the lead.
It's a battle as, once again, it is Urrutia all over. They touch. Too wide, and they touch as Urrutia gets into the side of Pato O'Ward. That's going to allow Victor Franzoni to go to the inside and make a pass for the lead. So right now, Jay Query, head your way. Victor Franzoni leads here at Road America.
Victor Franzoni now will try to go downhill and set up into turn number 8 and do so with the advantage over Urrutia. Now Pato O'Ward, they're going to go 3 wide. All of a sudden, Colton Herta took a look to the inside. He's able to take up 1 spot. That leaves, it looks like Aaron Tielitz left all the way out at the bottom of the racetrack, but we'll call them when they come through the carousel and see how they line up. It's the leader, Victor Franzoni, a sizable advantage. Then you have Pato O'Ward, then Colton Herta, then it's Aaron Tielitz and Norman. So that was Urrutia that got hung out to dry. Santi Urrutia shuffled back to 6th.
Yep, and it looks like the 5 car of Santi Urrutia has some front wing damage. That incident between he and Pato O'Ward is under review. Shelby, you're getting a first look at the replay. Boy, it's only lap 3, and these guys are pushing so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a little bit looked like Santi got in a little hot, and then once you're in that situation, you're like, well, we're going. So he's almost committed. It's actually the Santi of this year. I mean, it's actually a really rare occurrence like that. He's been very, very quiet. He's also just wanted to get his maximum points every single weekend. So it's a very rare thing for him.
And Steve, obviously, Santi Urrutia, a guy that needs this championship if he wants to advance to the IndyCar Series, pushing awful hard to have it spill over there at turn 5.
Yeah, he really does. And like Shelby said, he's been driving very, very well this year and very patient and kind of been taking everything that can give him. And this is really out of character for him this year, and it might take him out of championship contention.
Boy, tough break for both of those drivers. Pato O'Ward's able to continue on, but Dave first, he's now got his hands full with his teammate Colton Herta, who's taking a look to the outside.
Takes a look to the outside. Now he's going to take a look to the inside. A bit of an outside-in move, but he stays on that rear gearbox of Pato O'Ward. Now takes a look to the outside. Colton Herta on the charge here at Road America.
So Santi Urrutia had to pull on to pit road. That's where Dalton Kellett had to already go. Kellett now is working his way through the carousel, and the leader is Victor Franzoni into turn number 8. Then Pato O'Ward. Herta is right there. Aaron Tielitz is trying to keep Herta within sight, but Herta is trying to reel in and get, of course, in on Pato O'Ward. O'Ward running in the 2nd position. Franzoni, a very comfortable advantage. Everybody works their way now to the bottom of the carousel and in through turn number 11.
Yeah, Franzoni's lead is 2.2 seconds as Pato O'Ward, Colton Herta, and Aaron Tielitz. You could throw a blanket over 2nd through 4th. And we just got a report that Santi Urrutia not only brought that car, that wounded Bilardi Auto Racing Mazda to pit lane, but he is hopping out. So I'm sure we will hear from that very disappointed, or certainly hope to hear from that disappointed driver very soon. But it is going to be a rough day in the points for Santi Urrutia. It is Victor Franzoni, your leader, as he'll charge back up the hill to complete lap number 3. Pato O'Ward runs in 2nd. Colton Herta runs 3rd. Aaron Tielitz is 4th. Ryan Norman showing some good pace as he's got that 5th spot locked down. But, boy, what a nice advantage right now, Michael Young, for Victor Franzoni in the lead.
Indeed, and for Pato O'Ward, he has his teammate Colton Herta on his rear wing. Not able to make a move this time is Colton Herta, although he steps out a little bit. Pato O'Ward, the back end, nearly stepping out on that machine. So a sizable advantage, as you said, for Victor Franzoni. Pato O'Ward, then 2 car lengths back to his teammate Colton Herta.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Best battle on the racetrack is heating up for 2nd as Pato O'Ward and that red, white, and green car has that Yankees, navy, and white Colton Herta car popping to his outside. Dave, first they'll go side by side heading to turn 5.
Side by side as once again Herta goes the over and under, but it doesn't work. Now all of a sudden Aaron Tielitz is in that battle. So it's Franzoni, O'Ward, Herta, Tielitz, the top 4.
Waiting for them to come in here, and all of a sudden popping very quickly into view is Victor Franzoni. He negotiates that left-handed turn number 8, does so with Pato O'Ward just behind him. Herta reels right in on the rear of Pato O'Ward in that battle for the second position. They work their way through the carousel. One of them who was involved in it earlier but finds himself out of the machine is Santi Urrutia, and he's with Ryan Marine.
That's right, a very disappointed Santi Urrutia. First of all, what took place from your perspective?
I don't know, it's racing, it is what it is. So, yeah, it's a shame that we lost points and looking forward for the next race.
How do you put this incident behind you and look ahead and focus on your ultimate goal, winning this Indy Lights Championship?
Trying to get faster and stronger for the next weekend, and we will be fine. I think working with the team, we can do a great job. We improved the car from yesterday. Car was a lot better. And yeah, I mean, we got to go to Iowa right now. It's an oval race that gives 1 point, so we have to win that race on the next few races, and we will be fine.
Sorry to see you out so soon. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That's Santi Urrutia,
Yeah,
guys.
you can hear it in his voice, no doubt about it. Thank you, Ryan Marine. Santi Urrutia very frustrated that his day is going to end in a 7th-place finish. Race control reviewed that incident, determined Steve Wittick, but based on the fact that Santi Urrutia was the one who caused it and had the biggest damage, that no action will be taken.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only action they can take. Yeah. Unfortunately, you could take something away from him at a later point, but he damaged his own day, and Pato's continued on. So, yes, it cost Pato maybe a spot, but there's really not a lot you can do in that case. Unfortunately, Santi has ruined his own day.
And in terms of this championship, Steve, I mean, Santi was a guy that it was looking like a 3-horse race, no doubt about it. But all of a sudden, as hot as Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward have been, this could be a significant hit.
Yeah, it really could, and he's always been a second-half driver. The last few years, he's come into this point of the season further back than he was this year, and it's always he's got hot at this time of the year and clicked off a few wins, and yesterday was a disappointing race for him. I know that, and I know he'll be really upset today, and I'm going to guess he'll look back on it and be mad at himself down the road, but I understand his attitude right now, too.
No doubt about it, Shelby. He doesn't hide the emotion, Santi Urrutia. When he's upset, he'll let you know it, won't he?
Yeah, I mean, Santi's always been, if he's upset, he just gets really, really quiet. Yeah, it's definitely a tough time. I know how his head works being a teammate with him in the last year, and it's definitely, he has to go out and really win Iowa, and he was very, very, very strong at Iowa last year. So, I mean, I know he has a lot of confidence going there, and he's definitely on the back foot and needs to, but that's when he drives the best, really.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He's shown over the years that he has the capability and the talent of getting hot, but boy, he's going to have to turn it around in a hurry as we've reached the midway point of the season. It is Victor Franzoni who leads this race here at Road America, searching for his first career win in the Indy Lights Series. That battle for second, though, Michael Young, not going away. Herta and O'Ward separated by about 3 car lengths.
If history repeats itself, and we know it does, it's going to be Colton Herta's turn in about 2 laps. He'll start to make that move around his teammate Pato O'Ward. But in doing so, he better hurry, because we saw the machine of Victor Franzoni that time by, and he has got probably the biggest lead we've seen all weekend thus far.
Yeah, it is 3.3 seconds right now as Colton Herta starts to run down. Pato O'Ward slides to the inside, then darts back to the outside. He's got a great run day first as they duel into turn number 5.
How about another duel in turn 5? This time it's advantage Colton Herta, that Yankee blue getting around Pato O'Ward. Colton Herta now in second here, Jay Query.
Yeah, it seemed as though on the straights that Herta had more straight line speed. Then they would get into the area of the carousel, and then that momentum, O'Ward was able to hold him off. But now Herta makes that move, put him in the second position. His task now is a big one, and that is to try to reel in the leader, Victor Franzoni. Franzoni is at the bottom of the carousel, entering that kink that is turn number 10. As he does so, Herta is just at the apex of the carousel. Herta now trying to get himself a little bit of an advantage over that machine of O'Ward that he had dispatched, and he does that into turn number 11.
Let's go to pit lane, get a note from Rob Howden.
Yeah, Nick Yeoman, we'll be watching Pato O'Ward here. If you look back to yesterday, remember when he was trying to chase down Colton Herta, he blew through his push to passes very, very quickly. Of course, in Indy Lights, it's an offensive push to pass. You can't use it on defense, and he burned it up quickly. Let's see if he handles it better this time around. But remember, a 1.5 second gap. That's where he has to stay. If he falls out of 1.5 seconds, he may find himself in the clutch actions of Aaron Telitz.
And we have the luxury of seeing that data for the push to pass, and we see that Colton Herta has 9 left, Pato O'Ward with 16, so seems to be managing it a little bit better. Shelby Blackstock, you had a chance to see that pass and a replay of it down into turn number 5. It doesn't matter if it's the Verizon IndyCar Series, Indy Lights, or further down the Mazda Road to Indy ladder system. Turn 5 seems to be the best spot to make passes around here. Why is that?
It's kind of a strange little deal because, I mean, the straight is obviously extremely long from turn 3 to turn 5, and it's basically where you do all your passing. It's the only place that's a really hard braking zone besides Canada Corner. Turn 1 is another good passing zone, but it's such a fast entry. You really have to really commit and give up the corner. But turn 5, and it's just it's so inviting also.
And it looked like Colton Herta was under attack there from Pato O'Ward down into turn number 5. He's going to hold him off as Victor Franzoni leads. And Jake, that lead right now in that Soul Red Mazda car is 4 seconds as Franzoni heads to turn 8.
What's going to be interesting is to see whether or not Franzoni ultimately catches up to that back marker of Dalton Kellett, because that gap is substantially decreasing. The reason I say it is because could that cause a hiccup that allows Colton Herta to get up on Franzoni? It may be just a couple of laps before we see that possibility present itself. Franzoni goes in through turn number 11. Now Herta pops into 10. Then behind him it's O'Ward and then Aaron Telitz.
Here comes Victor Franzoni down kettle bottoms with a substantial lead here at Road America. 4 seconds right now. And Steve Wittick, certainly a story we wanted to touch on during this broadcast. That entire Juncos racing team, it's been a very difficult past week, and especially for that driver, Victor Franzoni. This would be a monumental win for him here at Road America.
This really would be, and I talked to him after yesterday's race, and he was really, really upset with himself. He said about 3 or 4 laps into the race, he'd burned off his front tires, and he couldn't keep up the pace he wanted to. And when I talked to him, he said, yeah, they could probably make some adjustments to fix that, both himself and the car. And I know hopefully they've done that for him. But yeah, he not only lost Jeff, who was a mentor and a really good friend and helped him make this jump to Indy Lights, but he made a 24-hour drive straight through from Miami to Indianapolis, where he's going to be living full-time starting now. So it's been a really rough few days, but this would probably make it a little bit better week.
No doubt about it. A lot of heavy hearts in that Juncos pit as they are all trying to pick up the pieces after the passing of Jeff Green last week, a former member of that team. Right now, Victor Franzoni leads by 4.2 seconds. And the cool thing about the Indy Lights Series, Rob Howden, no doubt about it, is the involvement and the dedication from Mazda. And you're standing by with the gentleman who oversees that motorsports program here in North America.
Yeah, Nick got John Doonan, the director of Mazda Motorsports. And, you know, John, we love to see you here at the racetrack. I know when we're at Indianapolis in May, you're always thrilled seeing how many Indy Lights graduates are in the Indy 500 with that Mazda pedigree on their resume. But this weekend here, with so many great young drivers in USF 2000 and Pro Mazda, we're watching a kid, Victor Franzoni, with the Mazda scholarship, finally getting that, getting into the groove. He's leading here in Indy Lights. That obviously feels so great for you guys to see your young drivers finally getting a groove here in Indy Lights.
That's exactly right, Rob. We saw Victor in USF 2000. We saw him win the championship in Pro Mazda last year in very emotional fashion. He's a driver that this whole program is designed for, someone that has got tremendous talent, which he's exhibiting today, and lacks maybe the financial support. And so for him to bring home that championship with Juncos Racing last year, to carry that over into an Indy Lights campaign, he's developed, he's learned some things in the early races of the season, and now to see him leading here, there is a little stamp of approval on that for all of us, that this program is doing exactly what it was designed for.
What about Kyle Kaiser at the Indianapolis 500 this past year? Qualified himself nicely into the middle of the field. Really good run for the rookie. The Indy Lights champion, again, doing you guys proud.
For sure. Kyle did a terrific job there. 25 of 33 drivers in the field all have some step of the Mazda Road to Indy or Indy Lights on their resume, and that's very satisfying to the Mazda brand for sure. We're all about driving, the love of our car, relationship between car and driver, and over the years, this last 10 years, we've developed relationships with some of the greatest talent coming up, the future stars of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and it does us proud, Rob. It really does.
Let's talk about one intriguing part of the Road to Indy this year, and that's that new engine in the PM18, a brand new Pro Mazda car, but a new engine there as well. The guys at the lead engine is doing a tremendous job.
Yeah, between Anderson Promotions, Cooper Tires, and you mentioned Steve Knapp and his family at Elite Engines, the heart of these cars, every one of them is a Mazda power plant. And fortunately, in this level, we've got tremendous reliability. We had some issues early on with that PM18, but Steve and Dan Anderson and Kyle and myself from our side, we talked about it. We talked about how we would address it. We had some overnight shipments. We got parts for the teams, and I think you're now seeing the new chassis develop, the same chassis in both lower levels with the terrific amount of extra power to give these kids a chance to continue to showcase themselves.
Speaking with John Doonan, the director of Mazda Motorsports, one final question right now. Indy Lights, of course, 7 drivers. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the brain trust of Anderson Promotions, Cooper, and Mazda. You guys have got things happening right now that are going to be focused on trying to build this field.
Yeah, for sure. And, candidly, 7 cars, the field is nowhere near where we'd like to see it. But at the same time, these fans have been treated to some exciting racing here today and down in Turn 5 and down in Turn 8. So we are working on it. IndyCar is a tremendous partner. We all want to see it grow, and we want to see it continue to be a pipeline for the future stars of the Indy 500 and the Verizon IndyCar Series.
John, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
John Doonan, director of Mazda Motorsports down here on pit lane. And Nick Yeoman, you heard that, an engine firing here on pit lane.
Yeah, and Ryan Marine, you have more on that story.
I do. The Bilardi Auto Racing folks went to work. They replaced the broken wishbone on the right front suspension of Santi Urrutia's machine. They also replaced the front wing, and they've sent it back out on track. They're trying to, well, hope for some attrition, frankly, and maybe make up a couple of places, salvage a few points in that all-important championship chase.
Dave, first, that battle for second continues to be a good one there as they race up to the Corvette Bridge.
Under the Corvette Bridge, it is still Herta over Award, but now they look ahead and see the car of Dalton Kellett. Now, whether or not Kellett's going to move over and allow that battle for second play out, we'll see here, Jay Query.
They've worked their way into turn number 8 right now. Dalton Kellett is there. Right behind him is Colton Herta. And Dave, I think you're on to it because it's not going to be long before Herta and Award both want to try to work their way around that machine of Dalton Kellett. Victor Franzoni is perfectly fine with all of that happening well behind him. He has a 20 car length advantage over Kellett, who of course is a lap down. Then Colton Herta and Award just behind Kellett.
Shelby, we don't deal with lap traffic a whole lot in Indy Lights, but Dalton Kellett, being a fellow Andretti driver, you would expect him to move over and let both Award and Herta by here momentarily, right?
Yeah, you would think. I mean, as you saw with Victor, when he got to Dalton, he really just kind of got out of the way. I mean, it's one of those things where your day is already bad at this point. Dalton's probably just trying to work on the car and work on. Oh, okay, take that back then. Never mind.
He did. Kellett appeared to move over, but didn't give him a ton of room, and there was some wheel-to-wheel contact, some wheel banging through turn 14 between Kellett and Herta. Herta now continues on and heads to turn 1, but Michael Young, it got awful tight in turn 14.
Indeed, and then they make their way down into turn number 1. Colton Herta allowed himself to gap his teammate Pato Award by about 8 car lengths. It's been interesting these last couple of laps, Nick Yeoman, that Pato Award was really starting to press his teammate Colton Herta, and in races past we've seen Colton really kind of relaxed and not letting that pressure get to him, but boy, Pato Award was putting the pressure on, but now has lapsed that with the teammate Dalton Kellett letting those through, but causing that chaos in 14.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that despite the wheel-to-wheel contact, Dave, first, that gap from Herta to Award is going to grow from what you saw a lap ago.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that kind of worked out. A little wheel banging, but all of a sudden, Colton Herta has taken advantage of it all. The good, call it 8, maybe 9 car length lead over Pato Award. Then it's Telis, then Ryan Norman, the top 5.
Victor Franzoni is your leader. He already is entering the carousel, which is that long, sweeping, right-handed 8, 9, 10 combo, if you will. He's got Dalton Kellett dispatched now as it's Colton Herta well behind him, and then Pato Award. Everybody is single file. They're evenly gapped back when you go from 2, 3 to 4. That would be Colton Herta in second, then Award, and then Aaron Telitz. Then you get Dalton Kellett, who, as we mentioned, is a lap down, and Ryan Norman, finally the last one through into turn number 11.
The lead for Victor Franzoni is 4.8 seconds. Steve Wittick is surprised that Colton Herta and Pato Award haven't been able to run him down, and that lead is continuing to increase by a couple tenths every lap.
Yeah, I'm not overly shocked. When they tested here a week ago, Victor was by far the fastest driver. Somehow they missed on something in the setup yesterday, and I think he got a little over-aggressive. Maybe it was a little emotional with the tribute to Jeff Green. And they had a dominant car during testing here, and they were pretty good in first practice. So it's not overly shocking that the Andretti guys aren't right there. But, it's still a long race, and tire wear is definitely something that comes into play here.
And Shelby, I'm always super impressed the fact that Juncos Racing is a one-car team. When they set up for these practice sessions and qualifying, they only got one set of data that they can work with and adjust throughout the course of a weekend. So for him to be showing that pace against, teams like Bellardi that have 2 cars, Andretti that has 4, that's got to be awful impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do have a lot of data for the past couple of years. I mean, they've always been pretty quick here over the years, and I mean, I just hope that Victor can hang on, because it'd be a really, really good thing for him. I mean, it's been a tough week, tough couple weeks, and be really, really good if he can hold off. I mean, he's definitely has the pace right now. At the test, he was by far the quickest guy out there, and they've been on it ever since. As Steve said, I don't know what happened yesterday, but yeah, he's on it today.
Yeah, certainly a little good fortune, as it was a heck of a drive exiting turn number 5 after the contact between Santi Urrutia and Padua Ward for Victor Franzoni to kind of pick up the pieces of that mess, slice to the inside, and grab the lead. And right now, his lead has ballooned to 4.5 seconds over Colton Herta, who runs in second. He is our championship leader, and as of right now would continue to lead the championship by 14 markers over Padua Ward, who runs in the 3rd position, just about a second behind as they head towards Canada Corner. Aaron Kielitz, the hometown kid, runs in the 4th position. He is a driver from Wisconsin looking for a podium finish, as he is keeping pace just 1.8 seconds behind Padua Ward in 3rd. Ryan Norman holds down the 5th spot. Dalton Kellett is 1 lap down in 6th. And then as for Santi Urrutia, he is back out of the racetrack, but 7 laps down. Rob Howden, you're standing by with a car owner in Ricardo Juncos, who's hoping he can pick up his first Indy Lights win of the season.
Ricardo, you guys going after race win number 1 here for 2018, but you got your rookie driver, Victor Franzoni. He took you guys together to a championship last year along with Jeff Green and Pro Mazda, but he's such a raw rookie still. Yesterday was very, very strong. We talked to him after the race, and he said he kind of burned the tires off. You're saying that he just probably was pushing a little too hard when he had Colton Herta behind him with push to pass.
Yes, I think we got to remember he's a rookie driver with not much experience, and we missed all the testing days before the preseason, before race 1, and we're competing against very good driver, very good team with more than 1 or 2 years experience in the series. So it's been difficult for him. So I think he's doing an excellent job. And yesterday, yes, it was a little bit mistakes when he got past. And he needs to remember this is a long races and all what it's about in the lights now with the push-to-pass strategy, when to use it, how to save the tires. So today he's doing a much better job, much more mindset, I guess. And yeah, we're missing the win, but I hope we can make it. Still maybe 7 laps to go. So.
In talking to a couple of your team members, they say they're really behind this kid. They really believe that Victor's the real deal when it comes to potentially being able to go to the IndyCar program. Can you give us your feelings on this young Brazilian?
Absolutely. I have no doubt on Victor, and even 3-4 years ago, we finally put together last year Pro Mazda, you mentioned, with the help of Jeff Green. Unfortunately, everybody knows what happened, and Jeff was even a big part of this year. So he's in a very tough situation, but no doubt in my mind, he's a real deal, one of the most talented drivers we ever have in the team.
And good luck today.
Thank you.
Victor Franzoni leading the way here, Nick Yeoman, but you heard it there from his team owner, Ricardo Juncos. He believed big time in this driver, Victor Franzoni.
Yeah, they certainly should. Steve Wittick, you've been watching Victor Franzoni, the Mazda Road to Indy, over the last couple of years. Super talented young kid. And it seems like in this season, in 2018, week in, week out, he gets a little bit more comfortable behind the wheel of this car, especially considering the competition with guys like Herta and Urrutia that have a couple years of experience.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him. I know early in the season he was not happy with how he was driving and the pace of the car, and that was just his impatience and the way he is. It's great to see him have an opportunity to return to a team he's familiar with, people he's familiar with. He's kind of moved around a lot, been bumped around, not been in the greatest situations until last year, and he seemed to have found a home at Juncos. He's moving up to Indianapolis to be closer to the team, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And I think we've got Rob's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Steve, I just was going to say, you and I have followed Victor Franzoni coming up through the ranks through USF 2000 and Pro Mazda, but unlike some of the drivers, of course, in this paddock in Indy Lights who have backing behind them can say, hey, we're probably going IndyCar racing in the next couple of years because the funding is there. Steve, you and I both know that Victor Franzoni really has nothing. It's him and his dad. He does everything he can. He coaches young drivers. He'll sleep in the shop. Here's a young guy that is only racing here right now in Indy Lights because of winning the championship with Pro Mazda last year. If there's any frustration, especially earlier in the season, he is essentially racing for his career. If he doesn't win the championship this year, it's going to be tough for this kid to go to the IndyCar program.
Yeah, it really is. And if anybody can help him, it's Ricardo Juncos and that group, because they, like Ricardo said, he believes in him. I know there's a lot of other people in and around the IndyCar paddock that believe in Victor. He's a really easy guy to like. I don't know what he was like to compete against Shelby, but he was a really fun guy. He's a really fun guy to be around. He's always smiling. He's always happy. He doesn't get down very often, which is it's an impressive trait in a race car driver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Victor's always been kind of a quirky guy, especially off track. I mean, he's always the looks at the bright side of things. We've never seen him too down on anything, but great kid. I hope the best for him.
Yep, and he's going to try to hold on for 5 more laps here at Road America, as his lead was 5.2 seconds last time by, as Colton Herta runs in the second spot, now 5.1 seconds. So that lead staying pretty stagnant right now as Pato Ward holds down the third spot. Final step on the podium. Aaron Telitz is fourth. Ryan Norman is fifth. This, of course, is the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. My name's Nick Yeoman. Steve Wittick from Trackside Online is here in the booth, as well as Indy Lights driver Shelby Blackstock. Shelby, we've seen you in the car quite a bit over the last couple years. We like having you in the booth. It's a lot of fun. Certainly, we'd much rather see you out there on the racetrack. Talk a little bit about what you've been working on, hoping to get back into a race cars.
Yeah, absolutely. We were lucky to be a part of the St. Pete race this week, early this year. Had good finishes there, but really we're focusing on trying to get a couple of IndyCar races. That's the one thing that you really just don't learn until you make that jump. Is you never think driving's the easiest part of this sport. It's really going out and finding the sponsorship, finding the backing, and putting deals together. And so right now we're really focusing on the month of May for 2019, and that's pretty much what we've been doing. Coaching, same as Victor and pretty much every other driver, is you just got to go out there and start coaching, and which actually helps your driving a lot of the time. So I'm working with Abel Motorsports, Jacob Abel in USF 2000. Did a really good weekend, especially for only being in the car for 4 days. Really good job for him, and that's pretty much what I've been working on.
Have you been encouraged by what we've seen over the last handful of years of Indy Lights graduates, whether they have won the championship or not? I mean, guys like Stephen Wilson and Jack Harvey never won Indy Lights titles, got an opportunity running the Indy 500 and have shown out. This race car, it seems like it's prepared some guys pretty well to jump into the IndyCar series.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is they've done a really good job at making this a great junior car, just because the fact it is extremely hard to drive. If you could drive one of these Indy Lights cars, you could drive literally anything. The Cooper Tire is going to really good job of, I mean, they could make a tire that's super gummy and have incredible grip, but they really made it to where it's really hard to drive, and which makes you a better driver in the end. And the car was designed that way also, and it's definitely a handful all the time, and that's the only time it's ever fast, is if we're really hanging it out and holding on for dear life.
And Steve, we've certainly seen that all this weekend, but once again, this Monster Road Indy ladder system continues to work as we've seen graduates move up and find a lot of success. I mean, shoot, our pole sitter for the Verizon IndyCar Series, Kohler Grand Prix later this afternoon, Joseph Newgarden, a former champion of this series. That's probably the biggest example of guys that have gone on and found a lot of success.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive program, and it's really started to grow over the last 3, 4, 5 years since, everything's been brought together under one roof at Anderson Promotions, and it's not just the on-the-track stuff, yes, but they help the drivers off the track too. You go through media training, and it's been a lot of fun to watch a lot of these drivers grow up, and it's fun covering the Road to Indy. And if you're a fan out there, following the Road to Indy is great, because you get to know these kids and these drivers as they grow up, and you get to watch them grow up, and that's a lot of fun to watch someone mature. And actually, it's the best part of following the Road to Indy is watching someone reach their dream. It's fantastic.
And I think the coolest thing, Shelby, is throughout the course of every single weekend, it doesn't matter if you're an IndyCar driver or a USF 2000 driver, lots of autograph sessions, and you interact with fans every weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, you really don't notice it until you're in the role that I'm in, and Jack Harvey and everybody else are trying to make your deals to go to the IndyCar level. And like this weekend, you kind of forget on how loyal the fans are, and you'll be walking around and you have so many fans come up and say hey and thanks and have hero cards from previous years. And I mean, it's just the IndyCar fan is the best fan out there because they're just so loyal.
Yeah, it's really cool, and we know thousands of them have made their way here to Road America. Victor Franzoni leads this race by 5.8 seconds. Colton Herta sits in second
With 3 laps to go, though, Michael Young, pretty good battle shaping up for the final step on the podium.
Indeed, about 2 car lengths of separation between Pato O'Ward and Bilardi Racing driver Aaron Telitz from Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Telitz has been slowly dogging Pato O'Ward the last couple of laps, making up ground. It was initially about 5 car lengths. Like I said, has it down to 2 as they make his way under the Sargento Bridge.
Boy, and it would be big for Aaron Telitz from Wisconsin to get on the podium here in race number 2. He's got a great run down to turn number 5. He pops to the outside, uses that push to pass, and he'll make the pass day first heading to turn number 5.
Aaron Telitz with a couple of podium finishes at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. Now he's in defensive mode, trying to hold off Pato O'Ward, and does so as they make that left-hander under the Corvette Bridge. Head your way, Jake Query, that battle for third.
So Aaron Telitz right now finds himself on the final spot of the podium, provisionally, shall we say, because Pato O'Ward is not going to make it easy. He's going to want to try to get that spot back. They work their way into turn number 8. Aaron Telitz has a 2.5 car length advantage over Pato O'Ward after taking that spot. They now start that downward spiral, that elevation change. Telitz keeps a very good line through that kink in turn number 10. O'Ward is behind him, but Telitz on that straight line gets a little bit of an advantage in the speed.
Shelby, that was a great run heading down to turn number 5. Was that textbook how to make a pass to the outside here at a place like Road America?
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing is, I mean, Aaron only had 1 push to pass left, and he knew he had really 1 chance to. If he kind of blow it, it's really hard to pass these cars. There's so much aero wash. But yeah, it was a really, really good pass from Aaron. Pato is kind of sit and duck there. There's nothing you can do. When somebody else has push to pass behind you, they just blow by you like you're standing still.
Yeah, without any push to pass left, now Pato O'Ward is in a tough spot where he's just going to have to use pure speed to try to run back down Aaron Telitz, and Telitz has a nice advantage back up the hill. Looks like Santi Urrutia. He is looks like 7 laps down. Michael Young. He's going to take a look to the inside of O'Ward.
Yeah, he's made up a couple of spots, although, as you said, several laps down, makes it around Pato O'Ward. Actually, that's the first pass we've seen down here in turn 1 all race weekend long, but Santi Urrutia is still competitive, even though, as you said, laps down, that's still a very quick racing machine.
Up front, though, lap and a half to go, Dave, first for Victor Franzoni, and the lead is 6.6 seconds.
Shout out to the folks at Collins Classic Auto. They post the trap speeds as they head down the Moraine sweep, then making that left-handed turn in turn 5. That last time by Victor Franzoni at 168 miles an hour. He's cruising here at Road America.
He looks every mile an hour of that as he comes into turn number 8. He has not made a mistake all day. Victor Franzoni now works his way through turn number 8, a sizable gap to Colton Herta. As a matter of fact, when they come back by me here at the bottom of the carousel, I'll let you listen to the advantage. This is the car, if you could hear it, of Victor Franzoni going by. Then you wait, it's at the bottom of the carousel, and now there is Colton Herta running in the 2nd position. Aaron Telitz has Urrutia just behind him, but again, Urrutia several laps down.
Yep, no doubt about it. As Victor Franzoni makes his way through Canada Corner, his lead is at 6.6 seconds, and Jake Query doing a great job of letting those ears let you know just how big that lead is. How big was that pass by Aaron Telitz to get around Pato O'Ward? Well, the championship gap was 13. Now it's up to 17 for Colton Herta. Meanwhile, though, all eyes on our leader. Back up the hill, Victor Franzoni, for the first time in his career, sees the white flag as the leader of the Indy Lights race here at Road America. Michael Young, for the final time, he arcs it into turn 1.
The Brazilian's road to Indy career has been sketchy at best. The only thing that's kept him alive is his pure talent. So good to see the reigning Pro Mazda champion potentially getting his first victory here today after all that team and that driver has been through. Victor Franzoni makes his way to turn 5 for the final time today.
Down the Sargento Bridge, Moraine sweep. 3 different winners so far in 2018. Dave, first, we are poised to make it 4.
I'll tell you, some great champions have won IndyCar races here at Road America. How about some of the guys that have won support races here, though? Jimmy Vasser, Patrick Carpentier, Buddy Rice, Paul Tracy, all have gone on to some illustrious IndyCar careers. Victor Franzoni would love to add to that legacy, Jake Query. That soul red Mazda, the sun glistening here at Road America.
It's been such an emotional week and a half or so for Victor Franzoni. Rob Howard, an elder statesman for him, a mentor that supported him for so long, being fatally injured at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park some a week and a half ago in an F5000 event. Victor Franzoni got his first career pole yesterday. Nick Yeoman, he is well on his way to taking the checkered flag here at Road America.
Heading down Kettle Bottoms for the final time. That car has been perfect, planted to the racetrack, and that lead has just continued to grow. Lap up to 7.9 seconds. It has been a fantastic today for Victor Franzoni as he makes his way through turn, crest the hill, now to the right-hander of turn 14. Back up the hill with a massive lead. A new first winner in the Indy Light Series presented by Cooper Tires on an emotional Victor Franzoni will go to victory lane as he scores the Soul Red Mazda here at Road America. The entire Juncos race runs to the pit wall to celebrate and salute their driver on victory. Colton Herta across the start-finish line. He'll grab chip points, coming home in second. Aaron Telitz is third. Pat Ward finishes in fourth. Ryan Norman, final car on the lead lap, who comes home in fifth. Dalton Kellett will claim sixth. Santi Urrutia seventh. For Victor Franzoni, and you know, I don't situation down in turn 5 after he got around the two and Pato Ward, who made contact. He got charged up. He charged up the insides off in the grass. A fantastic pass and ultimately a great win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, makes something happen. The thing with Victor is once he gets out, that's what we saw yesterday. Is when he was out in front as soon as he got past. Thought the situation, but overall great win, huge win for
Steve. Really, this is the perfect cap to an emotional. Again, it's not going to bring a guy like Jeff Green back, but certainly a pit to smile in an otherwise gloomy week.
Yeah, you know, I know they really wanted to win. It was the singular focus for the Indy Lights side of things. That's impressive, especially against this field with the ready team, and to get the win. And extremely emotional. In fact, we've seen him in the car as he's gone around excited. And
down lap, so it's going to be a few minutes before we hear. Really appreciate you swinging by the booth. Maybe possible. And as you talked about setting up a deal.
for having me and had a blast. Else, my Twitter is Shelby. My Instagram is just Shelby. But thank you guys for having me. Had a blast.
Yeah, any it's always open to join. The Mazda.
Yeah, trackside.
A lot of it right
There's
now.
Tell what to believe. Talking about that story.
Fernando.
I'm not so where they're smoking 500.
Where America, he pops as he the podium. And Marine.
Yeah, races is this one for you.
podium.
All right, so having some problems there. Trying to talk to Aaron Thielen. But sometimes you have those technical problems. Steve, it was so miserable for him that. But as long as he can keep stringing those podiums.
Oh, definitely, for sure. He needs to keep in. Then we'll go back to Ryan.
You can chat with Aaron Thielen.
Yeah, I think we got it clear. Podium result.
Yeah, come to my home track, Road America, and put. It was great. I had all my supporters out from Rice Lake Wing Systems. Friends that came down, so thanks to everybody for being here.
Did you get it done?
Yeah, I think Pato was having a hard time out there, and I just kept getting done.
Appreciate your patience. Thank you very much. Rob Howden.
Yeah, tears are starting to flow down here a little. Joined a very short talk.
Different field. And Junko's racing was this helped. I was in a difficult weekend. Made so many mistakes. Was not. And
I know you had the interview. Here's a guy who is 60 years of age. He learned from you, and
it's for him. That and it's difficult. It was awesome, man. This victory is for him. Sure. Now we have to. I think today's the day. Car, and I think I did a good job.
congratulations. Ryan Moran.
4 straight Indy result in second.
Cars.
But yeah, super happy. I mean, obviously the main guys that I want to finish, and they both didn't have great races, so championship, which is all good.
Great result.
Yep, a good championship day for Colton Herta. Franzoni and Juncos Racing. Congrats. For Indy Lights, it is off to that fast and 8th, and then of course they go to Toronto, where we will crown a championship. As for our show left of the weekend, it is the main event. It's the Kohler 11:30 Central Time, where the cast of characters.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
Do you know what it means to race here?
Do you know the opportunities that exist here?
Do you know the pressure? All around the country.
All around the world.
There's drivers young and old.
We want the chance to do what we are doing.
What we are fighting for.
What we're racing for.
We've raced our whole lives and sacrificed so much.
Oh, we have contact!
We've worked hard.
Stayed up late.
And gotten up early.
We've proven doubters wrong and made our supporters proud.
Our dream is in front of us.
The only thing left to do
is win.